Welcome back to Lucor Automotive Services. Today we are doing a little more work on our third 79 AMC AMX. And we're going to work on the ignition a little bit, make sure our ignition is doing what it needs to do. When I had this in before, I found the no spark condition, slow cranking, and basically it's just really not happy. So we're going to do a few things to it. Stick around. So I ordered up some new bits for this. We pulled the spark plugs out. They're black as coal. I ordered up a new ignition module, a new coil. I have new plugs to put in. And I might scratch the paint. I also ordered up a new distributor. I probably could have gone to an AGI distributor, but I decided to leave it the old style just because I like the look of it better. This is a unit from World Products. World Power Systems. We'll give them a try. I think that's French, Spanish, English, so it's definitely worldly. The old distributor doesn't have a hold down on it. Luckily for me, Austin picked up a couple extra engines and has some extra parts laying around. So I'm going to steal one of his distributor hold downs, and we're going to use that on this guy. Looks like it'll distribute the spark all right. If I can get the old one out of the hole. But let's get moving with that. I also need to change the carburetor out because the old carburetor is completely locked up. So that's on our things to-do list today. Distributor was actually a part, like the distributor clips were not hooked up and the cap was loose, so I think somebody was messing with the distributor, obviously, since the hold down's missing. So I'm going to put it at the number one top dead center and verify my distributor position and make things work. Lights, camera, action. So I put some oil down in the cylinders to help lubricate the rings. I'm going to rotate this guy over to number one TDC. Ouch. Kind of hurt. The AMC is the same firing order as small block Chevy. 1357-2468. Let me rotate this over. At least get it close. I'll find my mark and then I'll get back to you. So I have all the spark plugs out. I'm going to put in one spark plug in cylinder number one. Then I'll roll it over. When I feel compression as I'm rolling it over, I'll know I'm on the compression stroke. I'll line up my timing mark, and then I will know exactly where the number one top dead center is. I have a new coil, new spark plugs, new distributor, new ignition module. You know, then it should have spark. So you can see my timing mark, or maybe you can't. Timing mark's identified on the harmonic balancer. I'm going to rotate the engine over until I feel compression on number one, because I have the spark plug in that hole. Number one compression. Number one TDC. Actually, my timing chain's very tight. Am I going to get lucky enough that somebody did a timing chain in this and didn't get it timed correctly afterwards? Maybe. It definitely has evidence that the timing cover's been off. That looks like we are on 0. You can see red RTV and a whole bunch of stuff on the front of this engine was changed. So maybe we'll get lucky. The thing will fire up. Let's see. So let's see where our distributor was. Looks like this is number 1 right here. And our distributor is pointing over here. So we are at least a full lug off. So this car was not timed correctly. And maybe somebody pushed it off into the corner and got angry at it. After trying to do a front cover to it, because the timing chain is super tight and it looks like it was apart. New hoses, looks like a different color balancer, which that may or may not be a problem. If the balancer outer ring has spun, then there's really no good way to find your true TDC, or if it's from a different engine. But all the AMC stuff was the same, so as long as it's an AMC balancer, it should be an AMC balancer. So let's see if we can get this distributor out of here. I'm like, it's stuck. It doesn't want to rotate. If I was smart, I would have put some penetrating oil down here at the base of the housing when I had this in here the last time. Let's shoot some Marvel on it. Oh, that's a horrible ground. The main battery ground is going to the bracket on the compressor. Let's get that moved. Let's get that moved to the engine block, shall we? Put a little coil on my distributor. See if we can get it to free up. Oh, love the smell of coil. That stuff's pretty amazing stuff, actually. I use it a lot. Could definitely be part of our slow cranking problem. Let's get you down onto the engine block somewhere good. You know, if you were going to actually have it timed at number 1, it's almost 180 out from where it would be.
Putting a new distributor in it.
I am putting a new distributor in it. That's assuming I can get this distributor out of it, because it's
number 1 failure point on AMC V8.
Yep, is the distributor drive gear. I'm not so sure that this isn't a new distributor that they put in there, new-ish.
Yeah.
But I was gonna pull if the gear is worn, I'm gonna pull the gear off this, and I'm gonna use the old gear on the new Dizzy.
I literally just had Irish Outlaw Garage blew up his Javelin over the weekend. He was supposed to meet me at.
Yeah.
Yep, sheared the gear off. Totally did. That's the end of that. All right, well, you have fun. I'm going to go eat something.
Yeah, I need to do that too, but I'm going to tinker with this thing for a bit.
It's got to make smoke and rumble sounds.
Well, I don't know. I mean...
Worst case scenario, we do actually have a run-in driving 304.
Yeah.
Sitting outside.
Do your square bore 325 in it.
No, that's going in my race car. This can have a 304 with a supercharger on it.
And a CVF pulley system. That'd be all right.
The method to all this.
And air conditioning.
Exactly. There's a method to all this.
I don't know where you're going to stuff the supercharger in this, though.
We'll figure it out.
Probably where the air pump currently resides. That would be the perfect spot for it. That rotor doesn't have any arcing on it.
Never run.
The rotors never run.
I would love to know the percentage of vehicles that end up getting sold because somebody
tinkered with them and didn't know what they were doing.
Yep.
It doesn't look like this distributor's ever, or this cap's ever had fire in it either. No lightning whirling.
No, that's working. Well, you can get it working. We have the faith.
Well, one way or another, I'll get it working. I'm usually pretty good at that. Bruce, I think I'm going to use a slide hammer to remove a distributor. What do you think about that?
long as they had the bolt out, it ought to be all right.
Oh, there's no bolt in it, and it's not seated all the way, and I can't rotate it, so it's kind of stuck. So I think I'm gonna use a sled. I guess I could use a sledgehammer and try and drive it in. Then I'll really need a sledgehammer to get it out. I put some penetrating oil on it, but that didn't help. It's still stuck. I don't think it budged. I don't know if I moved it or not.
Yeah, I've seen that on some older Ford style motors. You can get out of that.
It'll come out one way or another. It might come out in pieces. Just a minor timing adjustment. Put a dent in the hood. I don't think you've come up any. I got that part out. Oh, it's so satisfying. Got it. Wow. What'd you do? Oh, it needs a cam. Son of a. Nice. Bet that was a little hot. I think that Motorcraft board's a little cooked.
Looks like somebody dug that crap out of it.
No, it melted down. It melted out of it.
Oh, wow.
That's why I got a new one, because I was like, I don't think that box is going to be any good.
You usually couldn't dig that
I was
stuff out of there.
I was pretty accurate. It's supposed to look like that.
Yeah. Some of it used to be like mushy, but
No, this is like potting material.
yeah. Some of it used to be like a
Epoxy.
whatever they squirted in.
Yeah, there was a rubberized one, which is what
Yeah.
this one is, which is why it melted when it got hot. But that's just disgusting.
Yeah, it don't look good.
That's I don't think that's gonna work. I think that might be why one of the many reasons that I did not have spark. Yeah, maybe that's why they were pulling the distributor out. Oh, that just crumbled. Well, at least it's part of the part I'm replacing. It's an AMC Motorcraft. Motorcraft stamping. 12A199. AMC number's a 3230451. Well, you can see I'm still working on this thing. even though it needs a camshaft, I'm trying to decide if I want to put a camshaft in this engine or not, because I'm not too confident that this engine's gonna run if I put a new camshaft in it. So gotta make some choices on that. Basically throwing $500 for a cam kit and a bunch of time to maybe see this thing run. Well, let's get that changed out. 4-wire and a 2-wire. Looks to be the right component. Well, let's get this hole cleaned out. We'll use that nice little boss right there to mount our negative battery cable up. Seems like a really good place to use once it's been cleaned out. Assuming I don't break my thread chaser off in it. Which is getting pretty tight now. So we'll take it back out and spray some oil in there. Try again. I think since I have the distributor out, I'm going to go ahead and prime the oil pump, because that seems like it's a logical thing to do. Oh, I need to clean that guy out more. Let's move my camera so I don't spray it all over the camera. Oh. Way down in the hole, there is a distributor drive. Get on it right. It's loading pretty quick. We don't have oil coming out anywhere. I could definitely feel it loading. Have to pull a valve cover to really see, but I think that's alright. So I hooked up my battery negative to the block. I cleaned that spot off. It was very nicely preserved by the engine oil leaks. I cleaned the hole out, rethreaded it with a thread chaser, and put the ground on a clean boss down there. Let's see if it cranks over better than it used to. I'm a little concerned with cranking it over because I'm not sure the distributor drive was engaged with the oil pump because of its height, which that could mean the bearings in this thing are completely huffed, but we don't know that yet. That's probably a part neutral switch. Watch the oil light and tell me if it goes out.
What kind of your cruise light on the dash?
He's got an idiot light on the dash, yeah.
Okay. Yep.
It went out?
It's down right now. Yeah, brake and all lights are on. There's no oil light on.
So it went out right away?
Now it's back on.
Now it's back on?
Now it's off.
Hey, we got oil pressure. And a gauge that works.
And a gauge that works.
This one actually has a gauge that works. Alright. Put it in park. Put it in park.
I have a clean pair of jeans on. This is disgusting. And I'm saying that because I left my car open the elements for 2 years. It's green.
You don't have to get in it. Start it.
I'm in help. I'm helping.
You don't need to get in it. Start it.
I'm helping. I'm helping.
Let me give it oil pressure while it's cranking.
Yeah, I'm gonna not all the way down there.
I wouldn't recommend it. Go ahead and crank it.
How is this so bad? My car was open to the elements for like 2 years. Actually, technically, it currently is.
Technically, I would say technically
Windows are still down.
Technically, it's still got the windows down, so it's still open.
That's not great.
So what are you doing?
Right now,
Yeah.
I'm getting it set up so that I can check compression.
Okay.
The problem is, like I said, that distributor wasn't seated all the way.
Right.
So it's possible that all that cranking I was doing was with 0 oil pressure because the distributor wasn't engaged all the way to engage the oil pressure. And we don't know how much cranking they did previously like that.
But at least it was slow.
Well, it was slow, and it was clearly slow because of the horrible ground path through the ignition coil to the compressor to the bracketry to the block
Right.
to the starter.
Yeah.
So now it's just from the starter
To the block.
to the block. So it definitely cranks over better. Crank it again for me, and I'll give it oil pressure. That seems to crank over a lot better. Now I did put a little oil into the cylinders too to help lubricate the rings.
Use some marble or actual oil. It's got an interesting smell to it.
Oh, what, the oil or the car?
The car. Whatever I smell right now.
The mold or the...
Not sure what that is.
You're probably smelling the Marvel Mystery Oil I put in the cylinders as
It's got kind of a spicy, skanky smell. Almost an almost an electrical burn, but skankier.
That's not the bubble gum. Here, let me give you a taste test.
Oh, it's got a. That's an interesting smell.
That
Nope. That doesn't smell bad.
this stuff smells amazing.
Now I can't smell what I was smelling before. I'm guessing it was whatever was in that ignition box because it smells like it's coming from like right here. Whatever that
Oh yeah, I don't.
skank that was trapped in there.
I don't have any sparky right now because I have 0 ignition components in this car.
Yeah.
But I have bigger problems.
Yeah.
So.
Well, if it has compression,
It's a lot of work to put a cam in one of these. Oh, I'm halfway there.
you're halfway there already.
Pull the condenser, the intake, the valve covers, the rockers, the push rods, the lifters, the front cover, which means all the accessories have to come off. So it's basically stripped down to heads and block to do a cam on this car. But it's not replacing an engine.
Right. As long as it
Just
has
everything else.
compression. Yes. Yeah. It could be worse.
It usually is.
It can't. It might be worse.
It might be worse yet.
What you may do is spend a bunch of money and then realize
I'm still
you're
trying
still
to
screwed.
I'm still trying to figure out what the green and white Jello was in the thermostat housing was. It has to be like an acidic reaction to the aluminum and the steel. But the thermostat's brand new too. Thermostat.
So somebody tried.
Thermostat, distributor, upper and lower hoses, radiator. The radiator looks like it was replaced at the same time. There were some other things. New battery cables, because they're not the factory style battery cables. Air pumps disconnected. There's a big surprise because they usually didn't work from the factory. It's still an amazingly complete car, except for the parts I've stolen off of it to put on yours.
Yeah, well.
It is what it is. I would love to see one of those CVF units on here.
Yeah.
Those things are awesome.
Yeah.
I think there's enough room right down here in this corner for a turby, for a charger.
Yeah, relocate the alternator down there and put the supercharger up here where the power steering wheel is.
Move the power steering, all that stuff down.
Move the power steering down low and put the charger up high. That would work. Bad ideas.
Good idea. Dumb idea, but good idea.
Expensive ideas.
This is still in the. We don't know how.
We don't know what this thing's going to be yet, so it's all right. Well, I'll check compression on it real quick, and
Okay.
I'll need your help with that if you can.
Yeah.
Hang out
We
for a
get this
little
up, we're
longer,
doing, right?
and because I'll need you to crank, because I want to be giving it oil pressure while it's cranking.
Yeah, that's probably.
Since I already destroyed those bearings, probably. It'll be fine for like 100 miles, and then it'll wipe out my brand new cam. That's gonna suck. Where's my compression tester at? Go ahead, crank her over.
What I'm imagining right now is the conversation with our detailing guy. Hey, I got a car for you in detail.
Hey, can you buff this out?
Clean the interior.
It'll buff out just fine.
Actually, this it might look cool buffed out.
Well, it'd be a patina rod, so.
Yeah. But I'm more worried about the interior stuff. All
My, it's hitting 100, but it's losing it, so my valve on my compression tester's bad. Give me a second. I just gotta hold my tongue the right way to get it in the hole. Alright, crank me over. Too bad I don't have a distributor in the hole.
right. Arnold.
It's 145.
I'm okay with that.
It's slow, but it's also not, really done anything in 20 years, so. It's better than the 40 or 50 I was expecting from the rusted cylinders.
As long as they're all 145, we've got a winner.
Yeah. The problem is how much I cranked it without oil pressure. It'll run for 30 minutes, and by the time it's done breaking the cam in, it's going to be throwing rod bearing material.
There's that.
It's a risk you take, I guess,
But again, you were only cranking it slowly.
it doesn't matter. It still scuffs the bearings. It doesn't take much. Go ahead and crank it. 140.
I mean, this was a
It was a running driving car when they parked it.
no, but I
When
mean,
the
it's a
distributor blew up.
1979 304, so it's only like an 8.5 to 1.
Yeah, it's 8.5
compression
to
motor.
1. It's
So
and it's smog, so it's going to be low compression. This is the not fun part of working on cars. All the time it takes to work on cars.
yeah,
All right, crank me. We keep going down. That one's 135. That's the back hole. Is at 135. But you also got to understand that the car valve sat open, so there's corrosion. Like once you get it running, it might come back, or it'll just have a miss because it doesn't seal correctly. That is always a possibility.
probably couldn't be a lot worse than the one that we fired up in my car. Insert clip here.
Insert clip here because that was hilarious. Where's the hole? Oh, I think I found it.
I
can't see
Roll
it.
it around till you find the hole.
just keep moving it around.
You'll get it.
It'll slip in sooner or later. Okay. Good. That was low. Crank it again. That one's dead. That one's only showing like 70. So I'm not putting a cam in this motor. It's dead. Not without pulling the heads. And since it was cranked without oil pressure, it's going to need mains and rods. What do you guys do? What would you do? Would you put a cam in it? I don't think I'm brave enough to put a cam in it. Roll the dice.
If it wiped a lobe.
If it wiped a low, if it's got a wiped cam, it'll absolutely cause low compression. Absolutely, because it's not going to open the valves correctly. But that's a huge drop for one cylinder. I mean, I can do a cylinder leak down and verify what the problem is if I've got, if, you know, maybe that's the hole that's got rusted valves and they're not sealing correctly, which probably won't go away after it's running, but it might. Is it just the one hole or all of them?
Right. Go get some head gasket fix. Some Lucas.
Go buy some bars leaks and a
Yeah.
head gasket in a can, or whatever they call it.
Go get some head gasket in a can. We'll get some Lucas.
Do a product review. Go ahead. $83. It's not getting better.
God, what is that smell?
It's did you say it was bitter?
It's got like a spicy. It's a spicy, skanky smell. What am I smelling?
Spicy skanky.
And I'm smelling it when it's cranking.
Spicy skanky smell. I'm gonna have to ask my wife what that is tonight. Hey, honey, what would you
call this?
What would you think of if you smelled a spicy skanky smell?
It's got like, it makes your nostrils kind of tingle, and not in a good way.
Crank it.
Come on, 140.
Oh, hang on a second. There we go. Crank it. $139.
Okay, so yeah, I said 140. 139. You just didn't want me to get a win. It's got to be what that is, because I'm smelling it every time I crank it over.
Yeah, when we're cranking it, it's pushing the marvelous oil vapor out. I can't get to that one. There's a cruise module in my way. Go ahead. Back up to 140 on that one.
Okay.
Cooking. Now we're cooking.
So we have two holes that are low.
Front on this side, third hole on that side. $120.
Okay, so that one's down a little.
That one's down a little. Might be a leaking valve.
leaky
More than likely it's a wiped cam. But again, we have the issue of it being cranked without oil pressure on the rods and mains, which is what worries me more than anything else. I don't really want to spend $500 on a cam to just nuke it. Well, the good news is I got the distributor out in a lot more pieces than it should have needed to be, but the bad news is camshaft distributor drive is hosed, so it needs a camshaft, or at least a camshaft drive. I I don't remember if that's part of the camshaft or if it's an extension on the end of the camshaft. I think it's actually part of the camshaft. So, camshaft. We've got low compression in 3 cylinders. Pretty good compression in the others. So, do we have rusty valves or do we have wiped cam? Probably both. The worst part about this whole ordeal is that me cranking it was cranking slow because the ground path was going through the ignition coil, through the compressor to the engine block. And I've resolved that. It's cranking much better now. We definitely are building some compression in most of the cylinders, but we'll do a cylinder leak down so we can show you what that is. And basically that's putting your cylinder top dead center compression stroke. And you put air into the cylinder to identify if you have a leaking exhaust valve, a leaking intake valve, a leaking compression ring, or a leaking head gasket, because you'll end up with air going into the cooling system. And that'll tell us if it's a head gasket issue as to why our cylinders have low compression. That would be possible. Or if it's corroded valves. I don't have one of those cool little bendy borescopes like they had at the trade show, because I didn't spend $700 on one. I should have bought one, but I didn't. Because we could look at the valves in this with that. So what do you guys think you would do with this car? Would you put a cam in it and roll the dice? Or would you pull it out and check the mains and rods? Would you ball it up and throw it in a dumpster and put a 360 in it? I don't know.
Caveat is the
Make a
fact that
choice.
you have my 304 out of my car that may be available soon.
Yeah, if we can get the 325 put together, we can put that in your car, and we put the 304 out of your car into this one. And that's a great little 304,
Right.
which would be fine for this car, because this car's, I mean, it is what it is. It's going to get cleaned up and used.
Right.
We're not show carring this car, so or we're race carring this car. At any rate, thanks for coming along for the ride. Click like, subscribe, leave us comments below. Have a safe day. Happy holidays. And we will see you guys on the next one.